when you go through a period of observation, like that's what we've been going through for the last several years. Because we wrote in our books years ago that we've been through this before. That this is like deja vu. We've been here before. So I want to mention a few times, and it'll give us a little idea, if we had 1967 and 1968, that was a serious period. It was a period of rest, recuperation, and observation. We got to a certain point, and we knew we had to slow down because the game that we was in, we were getting up higher than the game that we had would allow us to go. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say is, like, when we talk about stages of growth in the Islamic movement, part 2 and part 1, that means that there are certain stages that everything goes through. The first time this happened, it was just natural to say a lot of things happening. I had to pull back and observe this stuff for a minute. And that's what happened. We observed what we was doing. Because at first we just doing it. And we getting plenty of we just doing. They said, hold on. Let's take a look at what we're doing. That was an observation period that we would observe. We would check out exactly what we was doing, what everybody else was doing too around us, and how it affected us. If you go through, then when we kicked in 68, 69, 70, 71, Boss Man was so overbearing, and he had run some schemes that technically had us off balance. So we pulled back, and we got to observe this. And to get time to observe, we're going to leave the country, because you can see what's going on. If everybody you knew in the movement is almost dead or destroyed. For instance, I'm from Oakland, so by the time in 1970 Huey Newton got out of prison, head of the Black Panther Party. In 1970 he got out. He was on the back of a truck with his big muscles, because in those days when you went to prison, you lift a lot of weights to get big, And so, would you give that just a minute before you, I don't want to freeze the sisters out, but it's a long story about Boss Man, but he, right in the middle of so blame Boss Man for anything, any discomfort. But Huey Newton got out of prison in 1970. And he moved down he was up on the 26th floor of the Lakeshore Towers. Now my best friend lived on the 23rd floor. Lakeshore Towers is right around Lake Merritt. Oakland is a beautiful city. It has a tidal lake right in the middle of it. And the tide comes in and out from under so it's a tidal lake right in the middle of the city. And we used to run around there and all that type of thing. So you could imagine they have some beautiful structures around there. They had just built the Lakeshore Towers. When Huey Newton got out of prison, instead of coming out full of revolution, he allowed, instead of him educating the people, he allowed the Negroes in prison to educate him. So when he came out of prison, he went in a semi-intellectual and came out an idiot. You know how people sound in them prisons. Man, I was driving this, I had a big car, had a big house, man, I had all this, that, and the line, of course. And so he heard that stuff for a couple of years, and it set in. When he came out of prison in 1970, he was exactly like them. So instead of living, in those days, rent for a nice apartment was $110. And he moved up in a place that the rent was $650. And all of a sudden, instead of helping people in the black community, he started forcing the people that owned business and everything. He used the Black Panther Party that was left to take money from the black community. And all of his visitors after that was Jane Fonda and all of them coming up there. And so it changed. He changed. And you'd find him in nightclubs with his bodyguards beating up people. Huey Newton even killed a young girl, 17 years old. Do you ever remember reading about that? They say she was a prostitute, but he killed the young lady, 17 years old. That means he went crazy. So now I'm still in Oakland, I'm looking at all of this. Hey, I said, man, there's stuff going on that I got to get my head on straight. I left the country, maybe 1971. But all that period, we had a chance to live through Black Economic Enterprise Zone right there in Oakland. All you hear about in the news is the Black Panther Party. Go to Oakland and see what they talk about. See if they're talking about the Black Panther Party. Oh man, no day, that was the Big Hank, the Ward brother, they were doing that. That's what they would tell you. Right now in Oakland, if you think I'm lying, find some older people that remember that period and see who they talk about and what they talk about. But in other words, now, remember what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a period of observation. That period of observation is when you're going around the world and you're seeing the world as it is. Right? Not just what they're showing you. They're showing you a rotten, deadly world where the white man is controlling everything. He'll kill you on the spot. There ain't nothing nobody gonna do about it. And that's the way it was then. And actually, still the same now. So you have to go and see a whole different thing. That's a period of observation. Then, if you come, we'll reenact it here. January 1st, 1972, we made a comeback. We came back from where we was, Europe and Africa and all those places, traveling to see what does this world look like. And that was a good period. It was really a period of learning and observation. And is the world like what you've seen? Now there's a whole new world out there. There's a whole vast world with all kinds of people, languages and colors, right? And you get a chance to peek at some of it. So if we go through that period, then it's 70, 72, 73, 74, and then there's a period, people would call it an unfortunate period, but it was another period of observation in prison. But you back with the so-called nation, but right at that time, Elijah Muhammad dies. When Elijah Muhammad dies, his son takes over. And when his son takes over, we go through that process. You're talking about happy? He took us through that same process of transformation. You know, I know it. I was sitting right there. You know, some people say it was a little slow. At one time, we said it was slow. Man, the chief moving slow. The chief this and that. But when you look back on it, you say, man, to bring those people where they was to where they are now was almost magic. No. You think the guy got a wand or some, you know, stuff under the table, you know what I mean? Shake it up and sprinkle it up. It was miraculous when you think about it, right? Here we are, the black man is God and the white man is the devil. That part of it made sense, you know. But the first part didn't. And then you're saying, La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah, and you mean it. Now that don't mean that all the old pioneers scrubbed all of that out of them, because I visited some of the Imams and they might have a picture of certain people, you know, in the place. And then the way they refer to people. But, hey man, you can say what you want. The stuff that black people had to go through to get to Islam, we're happy to be here. Just happy as we can be. Because there's too many ways to trip and fall. The more is science, you know what I mean? And Holy Koran 7, and
Circle
praying
7,
back.
Holy
I mean,
Koran.
so what does it do? It says praying. I said, oh, okay.
Yep.
What's that book he got? It's the Holy Koran.
Cool. Yep.
Holy Koran is a book like this with 7 on it, you know.
Circle 7.
Is it some dice game or something? Anyway, hey man, La ilaha illallah, to some people that's great, that's a big deal. But to some people, that's a big deal. And to be able to share that with other people is it's a wonderful experience. To be able to share that experience with other people, to be able to study with other people. That's what Brother Tufayl, we'd sit right there in that house and we'd study. And we discuss all of these things that we're talking about. We would discuss all of those things. All we're doing is when we say now we want to do certain things, we want to use everything that we've come across in history, right? To enhance, that's what the Strategic Command Center is. It's Brother Tufayl, Imam Tufayl, Strategic Command Center. We get that together, right? To do certain things. And all the things of the correct type of literature for the stage we're on now. It won't be the same thing, but it'll be on a higher level. Although this stuff is pretty good. If you ever read it, just check it out. Okay. So as we said, a 16-hour workday. It starts today. It don't start today. It's been easing up on us. But the period of observation, we use the term wandering in the wilderness. It wasn't wandering in the wilderness, it was observing and studying. You know, studying history, how it fits with people, how it works with people, and how people work under certain circumstances. Right? How people will react under certain conditions and certain circumstances. And when you observe it enough, pretty soon you can forecast the behavior of people. When you observe the system over eons of time, pretty soon you can become very accurate on anticipating what the system will do. Why? Because the time, the place, the circumstances, and their history, their background, their makeup. What's in them, right? Right now we see the world pretending to be one to move into some higher level. Well, they're not set up to do that. They're not set up to do that. All the discussions we had about giving the FBI time, giving these people time. They're not acting on what they should know, right? They should know what's going on in their society, right? They do know. If they're not willing to take some risks, some chances, and step out or step up or step in, however they step, to get involved with people that want to change this stuff. Because this thing is not working and it can't last. You know, I mean, it's almost dealing with this desire for more money and wealth and power is so insatiable that it's a type of suicide. And it's not only the big rich now, but it happens to everybody. If they start having money, you know what I mean? They start changing, their thoughts start changing, their looks start changing. They see people different. They don't see people as brothers and sisters, they see them as customers and workers. You're supposed to, the only job you got is to help me get more money. Other than that, you don't have no real value. That's the way they start looking at people like that. And they start really acting on that. And now, here we are, right in the middle of all of that. And as far as race and color, and the first to get it when it's bad and the last to get it when it's good is where we play. So if you're poor, whether you're black or white, if you're poor, you just don't get nothing. And the poorer you are, it don't mean they got white trash, right? They got trailer trash. White folks they're talking about, right? And one of the worst things you could, white folks in the South, they used to refer to themselves as white trash. That's what the boss man said about this, is white trash. You know, you're worth nothing, you're trash, you're disposable. You ain't no better than a nigga. The only thing that make you anything that can talk to me is that you're white. Other than that, you're trash, right? That's the way they felt about it. Okay?
Feel about it.
Huh?
Feel.
Right.
Still feel.
Hey, you know, if we want a good world, we gotta fix it. We gotta make the world good. That's the only way. We can't leave it to those people to do this for us. They're not gonna do it. And the ones that they hire to do it, the presidents, the senators, and all that, they don't have the courage. First of all, they don't have the knowledge because they keep them fighting within a box. You know what I mean? You can fight in this psychologically. That's why Malcolm used to beat them all the time. Because the other Negroes would argue within the box that they put him in. He wouldn't. He never lost. You ain't never seen him lose nothing. He couldn't, because he wouldn't stand. You're not putting me in no box. And then I got to argue like Democrat or Republican. That's the reason old Dumb Don, he beats them all because he don't stay in the box they put him in. You just jump out of that box and say, bump y'all. Okay, but remember, he's done a wonderful job. He's done a wonderful job. Okay, observation period. Not wonderful like wonderful, but I mean, once you see him, you see the worst that America produces. Not only you see it, so does everybody else. They see it and they understand it. You're talking about just in human terms, boy, all the white folks, everybody calling, oh man, we so happy you got, hey man, we ready to come over and have a party and y'all, we ready to get back the way it was. That's what Don's job was. We said destroy the Republican Party. Why he keep talking about the things for democracy is so that they'll lose faith. Everybody will lose faith in the so-called democracy, elections. Who would do that? And this is my job, to say, hey, they got so many, you got 6 million more people than he did, and they said, oh, he cheated. Okay. Only way you do that, that's Banana Republic stuff, right? America is considered a banana republic now. That's what it's considered. Are we going to allow them to raise our families?
Can you explain that? What is a banana republic?
Banana republic is like, of course, they started calling it during the time of United Fruit Company. United Fruit Company is, we get our bananas, Chiquita bananas and all that. We get our big, beautiful bananas here. One thing I want to say about banana republics, you know where the best Colombian coffee comes to? America. They drink the worst Colombian coffee and they keep it there for themselves. The best Brazilian coffee comes here. The best African coffee comes here. The best bananas comes here. Because I used to eat in the fruit market all the time down there. The point is, a banana republic, Milton Eisenhower, who was President Eisenhower, he was in a company called United Fruit Company. And Foster Dulles' brother, he had a brother, Allen Dulles. Allen Dulles was his brother. They was hooked up, and this is when they are calling and starting to call them banana republics. Really, they had other names for them then, but the relations were so bad that in a so-called banana republic, the United States can hire a group to cause trouble, or the second CIA operation, I think was in Guatemala in 1954. The Arbenz government. Arbenz was kind of a socialist. He wanted to equal the wealth. They help everybody a little bit. Go back 1 year. The CIA's first job was Iran. 1953 when they bought the Shah back. The next year was 1954. The Arbenz government. They used psychological warfare. They used various tricks to get rid of the Arbenz government. Because United Fruit Company, those companies in South America would be like